Okay, guys, so excuse me, I am extremely excited to introduce you to Abi Oyepitan, who is the co-founder of LIHA Beauty. Just so everyone knows, LIHA Beauty is actually founded by two founders. We have Abi here, which, as you can see on screen right now, and LIHA, who isn't joining us today, but just remember we have two co-founders. Did you want to say something there?
No, unfortunately, because you couldn't join today, but yeah.
That's okay. All good. So LIHA Beauty is Black and women owned. It's a cult skincare beauty brand or skincare brand that has been inspired by Yoruba culture, which we're both Yoruba women right now on the screen. So that's super exciting. And a lot of you may have actually seen their cult hero product, which is their Edon oil, which looks like that. Coconut oil, and I do have it. So you've probably seen this on the countertops of some of your favorite, influencers, etc. But the two of them met back in 1998 at university in the UK. They bonded over their Nigerian roots or Yoruba roots, and also their appreciation of Shea Butter. And what I understand is that after sort of taking note of the lack of products that were available in the marketplace for their texture of hair, for their melanated skin, they began to kind of, chat together and swap their favorite African natural beauty remedies. And from there, they began their very own line called LIHA Beauty. So, Abi, I want to welcome you to the Texture Lounge. Thank you so much for being here today.
I'm excited to be here. Really excited. It's cool.
Yes. First time that I'm having a beauty conversation with another British Nigerian of Yoruba culture. So for me, I'm very excited about that.
Cool.
Right. So tell me, how did you land at naming your beauty brand LIHA?
Oh my God. Yes.
I'm sorry to start with a bit of a controversial question, but it's like, okay, there's two of you. One of you is called LIHA. You chose.
Okay. Don't ever do it again. Don't do it again. Don't do it again. Do you know what? And it was my idea. Like, LIHA wanted some noir. I remember she wanted it's something like noir skin or something like obvious. My philosophy about naming, even though it sounds crazy, have a name that means nothing. Obviously, it's my business partner's name, LIHA. I just like the lines. It's not because of the name itself. I'm very visual.
I was going to say, it sounds like it. Like, as soon as you said that, I completely understand what you're saying. Like, the lines in the L, the I, the H, the A.
It looks good. It wasn't even, and if I, in hindsight, I would have just rearranged it, and just had the same letters, but in a different order.
Oh, okay.
So she was really reluctant to have her name on it. She thought it was some egomaniac thing. I was like, oh my God. And we did try and put our names together, but because of my B in my name, it didn't work. So, and that was literally it. I'm like, it should mean nothing. It should be easy to kind of I wanted 4 letters. I thought, and it just looked good. It wasn't because there's any, and I think when you're naming a brand, we went through so many names, and LIHA wanted she loves these sunray or some Afro black or noir something. I was like, no, let's have it very simple, visually looks aesthetically pleasing, and means nothing. And then you kind of Google it. And it was we couldn't get the land. We wanted LIHA.com. Somebody else owned it, but we just put LIHA Beauty. And there was no kind of SEO restrictions and stuff. So it literally, that was that.
It's funny, as you're saying that, part of the work that I used to do in my old job was product naming, right? So I get, as you're saying all of this, I'm already brainstorming what your name could have been. So... LIHA Beauty? What about LIHA? Because LIHA Beauty LIHA would have had your name in it, and it would have had her name in it.
Listen, girl, I wish I knew this. Never name it after yourself or your business partner, because it becomes LIHA, you know what I mean? Oh, LIHA. So I did a real disservice to myself. So, never name it after, especially if there's two of you, never name it after one of you.
Had to ask the question. So, okay, what would you describe as your zone of genius? Like the capitalizing on your natural abilities that are innate rather than, things that you've learned through the years.
Yeah, do you know what? I think I'm just like, I'm relentless.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm relentless. I used to be an athlete, so I went to 2 Olympic Games. I was a sprinter. I did that for most of my life. And yeah, like I learned so much about myself. Like, it's do or die. I can get down, obviously, but I can't wallow for more than a couple of hours, and then I'm on it. Like, it's just, and the thing about startup, and it's just, running a business, and very much like being an athlete, is like it's 2 steps forward. Might be like 3 steps forwards and like 10 steps back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was constantly injured. I was constantly having like issues and whatever, and that's what startup, having a business is like. So I'm relentless. I feel like LIHA is a bit more, very much laid back. I feel like I'm very driven naturally. I'm constantly thinking about the next thing. I'm constantly, my mind's always going.
Yeah.
I'm very visual. So, and it's so funny, I never knew this about myself because I studied politics and sociology. I wanted to be a human rights lawyer, very academic. I never really saw myself as a creative. But weirdly, in saying that, I used to own a vintage. I used to sell vintage with my sister because I traveled a lot. I used to go to like Rose Bowl, like flea market in LA, and because I stayed in Florida quite a lot. I used to do all the garage sales, like. I went to Korea because I went to Korea, I went to China. Anyway, I would do like everywhere I'd go, I would literally source vintage, and I would do photography, but I still never saw myself as creative. And then starting LIHA, naturally, like everything visual just comes really natural to me in a way I never really thought about. So yeah, that's like, I feel like that's my sweet spot. That's my innate genius, whatever. So everything you see in terms of the brand visually is me. So yeah, I think that would be my kind of genius. Yeah. I go round in circles. Yeah, I get back. Yeah.
That's fair. That's super fair. So what would you say, like in this moment right now? I don't know if you're in your own home or not. Okay. Tell me one word that describes how you're feeling right now in this moment.
Relaxed.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. I can tell this is going to be a really good one. When people are relaxed. That's always get the best results that way. Okay. Are you introverted or extroverted? And how does that play in you creating and being visual?
I think I'm a bit of both. I think, yeah, I feel like I'm a bit of both. I like my own company, especially as I've gotten older. But I can be extrovert, be quite extrovert, but I have to be quite, I feel I have to be feel comfortable. So I wouldn't go into a room and start like, commanding the room. I'm not that person. Okay. I really have to be comfortable. How that plays out in the business, I feel like, and it plays, I think just in my life, I just take a back seat. Okay. LIHA is more of the forward. I'm trying to break that. So I love just getting on with work. I love what I do. So I really reluctantly do things like go to events and things like that. I just want to get on with the work. And I think that comes from being an athlete. Like it's all about what you put in. So yeah, I think that's how it plays out. But I think that's the detriment of the business. I feel we need to be more forward facing. Okay. So yeah, I think that's how it plays out in business. And in this kind of, internet led, social media led world, I think you as a brand owner, people want that kind of like, they want to see you, they want to understand, know your story and all this kind of stuff, which does not come natural to me. I don't like people knowing my business, but like, so yeah, so this is something LIHA and I both grapple with, like how much of the business we what the challenges we're facing, how much we put out there. But I do feel like people kind of love transparency and honesty, and people kind of like, So I think it's something that we need to do more of.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, that's something that I've seen for a while now, is that consumers are purchasing for so many different reasons, not just because the product is great, not just because the product looks good, but what does the brand stand for? Who are the founders? What are their goals? Do their goals align with mine, etc.? So I totally get it. Like it's difficult for those of us who are maybe more introverted and more reluctant to share. But essentially that's what consumers are looking for. So I trust that you'll find your own like middle ground where you can share and keep, share as well as, keep what's essential to yourselves, for sure.
Yeah.
Are you reading anything interesting right now?
Girl, I don't read anything. All I read is Twitter feeds.
Oh my gosh.
If I was to show you my, my bookcase, I used to devour books. But when you own I don't have
no time.
And it's me as well. I'm a single mom, I've got a daughter, I run this business. It's just all consuming, and trying to understand like what's new and especially with D2C stuff. I'm on Twitter, I'm on reading articles about conversion rates, and SEO optimization. That's my reading list and all that kind of stuff. Oh my
gosh. Okay, so you're all about business, and you're all about how to improve marketing and how to expand your reach.
Yeah. But I would say the last book I read, which I loved, was called, was it Nearly Every Man? Oh, so God, even my dad wanted to read it. Every Man in Lagos is Crazy, or something like that.
Oh.
It's so funny.
Okay.
It's by a Nigerian author. It's short stories.
I do like short stories.
Yeah, it's Nearly Every Man in Lagos is Crazy, or something like that. I can't buy.
Okay.
And then another book I'm just reading, Akala, The Dark Lady. That is a children's book, but it was so good.
Okay.
It's like a teenage book, but it was so good.
Okay.
Yeah, so the last two books I've read.
Okay, so I'm going to have to find that first one.
It is so funny.
I'll find it. Maybe you can tell me who the author is after this episode, I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
How would you describe your own personal fashion style?
Yeah, God, I don't buy clothes anymore. I'm very conscious of like waste and sustainability. I don't know. I just get so guilty. But I grew up in Northwest London, near Ladbroke Grove. My mum grew up in Ladbroke Grove. I'm all about Portobello Market. I grew up going to Portobello Market, vintage shopping, secondhand. So I would say, and I used to, as I said, I used to sell vintage with my sister. Yep. So I would say it's like bohemian, like chic, and just, I don't know if it's chic or me just putting a bunch of colors together and it just, you know what I mean? For me,
just comes together. Yeah,
like for me, it's like you can wear anything as long as you rock, you rock it confidently. But yeah, I don't wear as much clothes as I used to, because I work from home all the time, which is quite depressing, actually.
You and the rest of us. I mean, the other day I was in my wardrobe and I was going through all my clothes and I was like, when am I ever going to wear these things again? When was the last time I wore this piece?
I think that's the thing about this now. Like, as much as it's good to do, like, work from home and stuff, it is kind of like, I'm in my sweats, like pajamas. My robe is my best friend.
Telling you, the work from home wardrobe is a whole different thing than it was like, 5 years ago. So first of all, okay, so you're a Northwest London girl. I am too, by the way. I grew up in Mill Hill. Oh,
yes. I went to school in Stanmore.
You did?
Yes.
Yes. I went to the Mount, which is on Milespit Hill in Mill Hill. My brother went to school in Hampstead. So we're very much Northwest Londonites. I just came back from London last week. I hadn't been for 3 years. And I carved out like one whole solo day for myself to kind of just
Amazing.
like wonder and just kind of, go back to the places I used to go to when I was a kid. And I chose Hampstead because I used to
Hampstead's beautiful.
It's like my favorite part of town. The boutique stores, the little creperie on the corner, all of it
Beautiful.
is just so quaint.
Yeah.
So when you said that, I was like, I've got to share that because it just reminds me of home.
Yeah. Hampstead is lovely.
So tell me about an insecurity that you had growing up that you may have overcome, if you have overcome it.
God, insecurity. I think I'm trying to overcome it. Like now I've kind of made fake humble, I call it now. So I
fake humble, tell us about that.
Yeah. So I have this thing where like, I always felt like, I don't know if it's a Nigerian thing or even a British thing. Maybe it's a British thing. Like you can't be too, you have to be humble. Like you can't be too out there. You can't be too like braggadocious or whatever. You have to be like really I think I took it to the extreme of being humility. Have this like humility because even as an athlete or in business, I see people be talking and they'll be bragging about themselves, all the things they do, and they don't do any of this. They don't do any of it. Nothing meets up. And I'm like looking at these people and, I'm looking at these people and thinking, what the hell? And me, I hate talking about myself. I hate talking about my accomplishments. When people say, oh, she's a 2-time, all these things, I get super like,
I'm going to stop you right there. I'm going to stop you right there because one of the things that we haven't discussed, and you've kind of dropped it here and there, is we're talking to a 2-time Olympian right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, we are.
A 2-time Olympian. Okay. She talked about how she's an athlete, but we're talking 100 meters, 200 meters, like some serious stuff. So I'm going to brag for you.
No, thanks. Do you know what? I'm starting to come out my like, it took me 42 years, but I'm going to start going out. And I see it a lot in business. I saw it as an athlete, and I think I felt like, and I think it comes from this idea. And my parents, you work really hard, and things are based on. What's the word? Meritocracy, or is it meritocracy?
Yeah, meritocracy.
Yeah, and that is not true. It ain't true. I will not be teaching my daughter that because that is not true. So I learned like growing up, you are the best, you recognize as the best, and you will get your just rewards. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I, as an athlete, I was the, best in the UK. I got into Olympic final, my first Olympic final in 2004 for 200 meters. And, with that, I believed because of merit and everything, you would get your just desserts. But I saw people who weren't on my level, getting stuff that I was like, what the hell? And I felt like I never voiced it. But then I started to realize, as I got older, I started to realize like, it's not just about accomplishments. It's about you going out and talking about yourself and saying, this is what I deserve, what I will deserve. And the people I saw getting what I felt like they didn't deserve is because they weren't shy about pushing their own agenda. And, and then, we talked earlier about me and LIHA being out there and things like that. I'm not that. I like working hard behind the scenes, and your things will happen, and that happens. But realizing that along with that, you got to go out there and get it. Like you know, tell people about yourself, and that's why I call it fake humble. I'm like, girl, you need to stop being fake humbling yourself. I love you need to be telling people about themselves and about who the hell you are. So that's an insecurity of mine because I felt like I didn't want people to say, oh my God, look, she's so egotistical. She say this, she say that, whatever, and talking, and you know what I mean? And it's like, so that's something I'm actively overcoming. Yeah.
I'm just waiting for a truck to drive by.
Oh, no worries.
Okay. So I think that you are, and you kind of said it in the beginning, I think a lot of that comes from, yes, the fact that we are Nigerian, and also the fact that we are British, right? I feel like the two cultures, like when you look at British culture versus American culture, like Americans, I'm generalizing, okay? So those of you who are listening, like take a chill pill. Generalizing here. But Americans are very good at self PR. They're very good and articulate about, letting everybody know what they're doing and how great they are, and the confidence levels are super high. Whereas us as British people, we tend to be more reserved. We tend to kind of, hope that people will recognize our efforts. We're waiting for people to put a tiara on our heads. We're hoping that, people will notice us in the corner kind of doing the work, and, we'll be rewarded that way. And I think with Nigerian culture, it's a very similar thing. Like we're raised to be humble, right? Like it's not attractive. It's not seen as a good thing to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
But I think things are changing. I think that things are changing. And as the generations, as we get more and more into the Gen Zs of the world, and even the millennials of the world, we're starting to see a lot of people start to break that cycle, and especially with social media, right?
Yeah,
like
I think social media. See, social media has a lot to do with it. I think that what I saw when I was an athlete from US, like American competitors, and we all we'd oh my God, these people are so naff. Whatever. I forgot, Morris Green and, all these athletes and stuff. They were so out there and stuff like that. And they would tell you how amazing. It's almost like a boxing, especially for sprinters and stuff. It's almost like that power play with the boxers and stuff like that. And I always felt like it was super naff. When and the British commentators do not like that stuff. And so, but yeah, social media certainly for people in Britain, and you have to put yourself out there. But also, I think the school system in America, I've never been in it, but one thing I do know is they do a lot of debating, a lot of speaking, to your, whatever, I know debates and I don't know, I forgot what public speaking events and things like that. We don't do that. In the UK. And so, and that certainly builds confidence and talking about yourself. And this is all the things I've learned as I've gotten older. If you'd asked me 10 years to do a podcast, I'd be like, "God, I ain't do no podcast." Especially if I would not have done it because I don't you know what I mean? But that's something I've had to overcome. So, but yeah, I will be teaching my daughters totally different things.
Yeah. For sure. So let's talk about building LIHA Beauty. What makes LIHA special and different from the rest?
I think for us is as much as it is about the products, it's talking about one thing we wanted to really highlight is talking about our African, I hate African, but Nigerian roots.
Thank you for that, by the way, for zooming in and being specific, because that's always a bugbear.
I try and be very specific, because one thing we don't talk about, we tend to talk about Yoruba culture, because I'm Yoruba. If we talk about Nigeria, it really actually tends to be talking about Yoruba culture. We don't even go into other tribes like Igbo and all that, and
Hausa,
Hausa, any of the other tribes, because I don't know it. I'm even learning about stuff about Ifa and traditional Nigerian
religion
and and things like that. This is something I've started to learn since I've started the brand. And so we wanted to educate ourselves and educate our customers or our community about what predates colonialism, you know what I mean? All the things that is wonderful about my Nigerian Yoruba culture and the kind of products and the history and the art and the culture about it. And so, and then even merge that with our British culture as well. LIHA's half Nigerian, so her mum's an English aromatherapist. And so it's bringing our two British culture and Nigerian culture together and we talk about essential oils, aromatherapy, flower therapy, all these kind of things. And even looking at pre-Christianity religious things, and looking at stuff like, because her mums are all kind of like into like past lives, and LIHA's mum's like, and all these kind of things. So I'm looking at like even like things that could even be parallel to like they celebrate when we talk. We did a post about summertime, British summertime, and they're talking about like, I forgot, paganism and what that symbolized, and how that again came through, you know, Nigerian and Yoruba culture, and how like how they kind of celebrated and venerated the if you know, goddesses or gods in like summertime, whatever, what the traditions are. So it's looking at that and merging that, and then bringing that into our products. So it's the whole education piece, and just really educating people about African beauty secrets. I hate saying African because it's so because it's broad. A continent. But like we could say Nigerian beauty secrets, but sometimes like a lot of like things that Ghana, even, they've got Ghanaian black soap and Shea Butter. So we sell 2 different types of Shea, the Nigerian and Ghanaian one, which is quite different. So it's just, I think that's what makes us unique, like blending our 2 cultures and really honing in our Yoruba culture and like really educating people about that.
I don't think there's really anyone else that's doing that. Right? I don't know of any skincare brands or beauty brands that are steeped in the culture of Yoruba tradition and influence. So it does that's exactly what sets you, from my point of view.
I think, I personally don't, we might veer on like Ghanaian stuff. I go to Ghana quite often. We might veer towards Ghana because it's not next door, but it is very close, and Benin Benin and stuff like that. But we don't go past like that. I don't know anything about, even West Africa, Senegal, and all the rest of that. So I can't even begin to talk about South Africa and East Africa. I don't want to, and it's not that, but there's so much rich history and culture that I don't even know. I would love to do like a whole exploration of like going from top of Nigeria to bottom of Nigeria, and looking at foods and tribes and beauty, things different tribes and how they use beauty in a different way and things like that. So, and Nigeria is a massive country,
huge,
3 countries in one. It's basically 3 or 4 countries in one. So that's enough. let's not even start going about the rest of the continent.
What was it? Can you remember that moment when you and LIHA both decided, okay, we've got to do this. We have to launch this brand.
Oh yeah, I totally remember, because what happened was we've been talking about it. So I was retiring from sport. I had retired from sport actually, and LIHA had was winding down her other business, and we had talked about starting a business, and then we came upon like starting a beauty brand. I'm not a beauty junkie. I'm like really simple. LIHA has worked at Space & K. Her first jobs were like in Space & K body shop. She's a total beauty junkie. And me and my sister used to make our own hair care products, like with mayonnaise and like Shea Butter, anything in the kitchen. And as I said, LIHA is a beauty junkie. Mum's an English aromatherapist. And so we didn't really want to get into the hair space because there's so many. We wanted to go into the skincare because I think it transcends race. Our products is just not for Black people. We always say we just happen to be Black founders. We want to just, skin, obviously, Black skin is more acidic or whatever, and all this kind of things. But invariably, I could have the same skin type as a, mature old white woman, whatever. It's just certain things, acne, things like that. So anyway, so we went into that. And so we just, we had been really tinkering with our Edan oil for over a year or 2, but we hadn't done anything with it. It was just sitting there. We'd given it to family and friends, but nothing was happening. I wasn't confident of launching with 2 products. So LIHA wanted to launch with our Shea Butter is the Nigerian and Ghanaian Shea Butter, and then Edan oil. I was like, I don't know. I felt like people had to have a whole range of products. But we were like, it's multi-purpose. It does the job of like 5 or 6 different products. That's that. So what we decided, we had this product, we didn't have any packaging, we didn't have anything basically. And then I was like, we need to set a date on what we're going to do, because otherwise this is endless. So what we decided, LIHA had launched her other business at a festival called Port Elliot Festival in Somerset. I think, yeah, it's down south in, I think, Somerset. And she was like, I think it was like around Christmas time, we're like, let's sign up for Port Elliot. It gives us 6 or 7 months. It means we have to have all our stuff together. And even if we don't have it, it's like, it's going to be like a soft launch, and it literally was going to get feedback. All we wanted was feedback on our packaging, blah, blah. So we got to work. So that was like, we're starting the brand, we know the name, let's get everything else done. So that was that. And so Port Elliot was in July, and we had everything done, mostly like just sketches. We had stickers. It doesn't look like anything like it looks similar to what it looks like now, but it wasn't perfect. It still isn't perfect. And we launched with the two Shea Butters and the Edan oil, and we did workshops showing people how to make their own skincare using kitchen ingredients with Shea Butter. So that's how we got people in. Yeah, and pretty much what happened at that festival was like we sold out after 2 days. Anthropology had the tent 2 doors down, like a massive tent, and then they did lots of different workshops. And lots of the girls who were at the Anthropology tent would come to our workshops. And then the head of Anthropology Europe came to our workshop, and she was like, I love your oil. I want to sell your oil. And we're like, okay.
Oh.
And then, yeah, and that's pretty much how we got started. But we didn't even have a website. I didn't even think to put up a website.
Wow. Wow.
We didn't have a website. And the woman was like, have you got all your EU? This is when we were still in the EU. Have you got all your EU testing and stuff? And we're like, yeah. I didn't even know what she was talking about. We didn't know what she was talking about. We're like, yeah.
Just nod.
We just nodded. But yeah, we didn't have that. So it took us about 5 months to get that. And we launched in Anthropology a year later, just with the Edan oil, and we did workshops. Yeah. So that's basically it.
So LIHA is from Cheltenham and you're from Hackney in London.
Yeah.
Right. So how did you guys make that long distance work? I mean, first of all, tell people who are listening, if you were to drive from Hackney in London to Cheltenham, what is the drive time?
So it would take me like 2.5 hours to get there. 3.5 hours.
3.5. That's not too bad. That's not too.
Yeah, I know. For America, that's nothing. For England, that's everything.
It is.
America, you could drive for 10, 12. My friend moved from Nebraska to Texas. She moved from Nebraska. I was like, and she drove. I was like, what do you mean you're driving?
That is so common. Listen, my husband and I are driving to Houston from Austin. That's like a 3.5 hour drive later on.
That ain't it.
It's so common out here. But for you, that was a trek.
That's a flight. How did you make it work? A flight and the train. That's right. No, we did. We had a little workshop. So we had a little workshop. Oh my God, this workshop was insane. So we had this little studio in the back. It didn't have any windows. It was like it wasn't even bigger than a shed. It was terrible. No windows. It was freezing in the summer, boiling in the winter. It was insane. And I would do like once a week. I would do the drive down, do some Shea Butter, do the Edan oil, and then when our soap. It took a year and a half to get our soap together. And making soap is it's no fun.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, it was a lot. But you know what? Like, I loved it. Like, I love like the idea of having a concept and bringing it to life. And because as soon as somebody says something to me, if I can visually see it, like I can bring it to life. Like if I see, it comes in pictures in my head, and then I'm like, yeah, I know what I'm going to do. Yeah. And that's what LIHA is about. I love like packaging, conception, all that kind of stuff. And so even though it was 3 hours, it was like, it was 2 hours to drive to Cheltenham to London. It takes another hour to get across London. Get across London. It was just, so that was the thing. So,
So was that weekly? Were you doing?
Yeah, weekly. It was basically weekly. at that time I was, I had like flexible jobs. So I was doing different things. I was public speaking, PTing, doing like different things. I'd retired from sport. So yeah, I would do that. I would do the drive, and it was fine. I'm used to driving. I used to drive and fly everywhere. So yeah.
Fair enough. So what's been the biggest learning curve for you as you've launched this business and you've worked across ingredient types and you work with another founder? So you both have very different styles. One's more laid back, somebody's more of a vision oriented person. Like, what's been the biggest learning curve for you guys?
Oh, God, there's so many. One of them is learn your finance, know your finances.
Yes.
Know your finances.
Know your numbers.
Know your numbers. Yeah. I can't even emphasize that enough. Like, LIHA and I are quite both creative, and we're like, that has been a real steep learning curve for us. Like, your numbers tell a story, like, and you need to know that story inside out. And what the story is saying, how does that inform, your production, your fulfillment, your cash flow, what you can buy. And yeah, that's been a steep learning curve. And knowing that will keep your business afloat. So that's really, and then I think, like getting into business with somebody has been also a steep learning curve for me.
I'm sure.
So just, personality types, ways of working, drive, all these things, like as much as your friends, you've never worked together, and it all sounds great. And it can be, especially when you're getting the wins. But then, just be very, like, I think in hindsight, I was quite naive. It's like, you have to look at every potential scenario that might happen and how you would deal with that. And before you get into business, if somebody is like ironing that out, like if this was to happen, if that, all these things, I think is really important, but you only learn that from going through it.
Yeah, of course. All right. So what's been the most satisfying career moment for you to date?
Just in general?
Yeah.
God, satisfying career moment. I should say getting into Olympic final.
Okay.
I should say that, but I don't know if it is the most satisfying.
That can be
I wasn't
one.
Happy.
That can be one. So that's a personal one for you.
Yeah.
In terms of LIHA Beauty, what would be?
Yeah, in terms of LIHA Beauty, God, what is the most satisfying? I'm just thinking the brand's still existing. I don't even know. The brand's still existing. Do you know what? The things that satisfy me is the things that don't I just love like the little things. Like I don't get excited about the big stuff. I get excited about like if we have like if I see packaging and it looks exactly how I want it to look, and honestly, I don't get excited about we get a write up in Vogue, and that's great and stuff like that. But that never seems to excite me. I get excited about like, oh my God, the packaging looks amazing.
I love that. I do love that, quite honestly.
Yeah. I get, when I see when I see like visuals, like we do a photo shoot and I'm like, oh my God, this looks great. Or customers like, it's like, I love your product. I've seen you, when we do events and like somebody says, oh my God, I've seen you guys on Instagram. I have wanted to try, things like that. The big moments are great. But they're not as satisfying for me. I don't know why. I'm just weird.
No, it's you, and that's your answer. And I think that's great. I mean, it's the small things in life, the small joys in life that kind of keep us going, right? So does anyone in the beauty industry inspire you right now, like in terms of business? Like who do you look up to?
Actually, it's not so much I listen to a lot of podcasts, but she's not I discovered her through a friend. She's not in the beauty industry. She is in like sustainable fashion. She does leisure wear company called Tala. She's called Grace. God, I don't Grace something. I'm terrible with names.
Okay.
Grace Beverly. So
Okay.
I recently discovered she's really young actually, but really savvy, really I feel like really inspiring. So I'm really inspiring. Just their business acumen, I think, is for somebody relatively young, is great to see. I get inspiration from also like Sharmadean Reed. She's not
Yes.
she's got Beauty Stat, not Beauty, she launched Beauty Stat, but now it's called Stat World. She's super inspiring.
Yep.
Somebody like Grace Ladojo, she's got she's Skepta's manager, but she does like a whole bunch.
Okay.
She's got Homecoming Festival, a Nigerian festival called Homecoming.
Oh, cool.
You know, she started really she started going back to Nigeria and wanted to give something back. And she's like, and it's become this like huge festival. I think it came to Atlanta. One of the, she did like a pop-up in Atlanta in September. She does stuff in Nigeria. She's been doing stuff in UK, bringing artists to America and Britain. And so that's, those kind of things, like, I'd love to do stuff like, do the stuff like that with LIHA, like bringing like, not even bringing people to Nigeria, even like doing in this like spa. We have this amazing spa retreat concept. I'd love to do that in Nigeria, and then like embedding like that cultural aspect and bringing people there so they see for themselves that, it's an amazing country and an amazing continent.
No, I feel like that's happening a lot now, right? Like, I feel like even when you look at music and you look at Afro beats and how widespread that music genre is across the world, and especially here in the US, you have a lot of African Americans who are super interested in figuring out where they come from, and they're doing DNA tests, and a lot of them are finding that their roots are in Africa, and so for that reason, they're coming home, to your point, homecoming, right? They're coming back to, whether it's Ghana for the Afrochella that happens at the end of the year, and maybe homecoming, etc. So yeah, I mean, I would absolutely love to see how you sort of lean on that to help develop, LIHA Beauty on that side of the world.
No, and that's I think, we get lots of questions like, oh, are you going to sell sell to Nigeria, in Africa and things like that. I'm like, I don't. We would, but I almost want to bring people to Nigeria, to Ghana, and Ghana, not so, lots of people going to Ghana. I think
they are
so saturated, but bringing some kind of like experiential thing to Nigeria, and building that economy, and seeing how we can like do something very authentic there, and then like African Americans or British, anybody to come there and see for themselves, basically.
So what's the future for LIHA? Like, what do you want to see in this brand, or what do you see for the future for this brand?
Global domination. So we see ourselves like we see ourselves as like the next heritage brand of the future. So we want to have that kind of legacy brand, a heritage brand, like a Diptyque or I don't know, whatever, MAC, or even like Burberry, or these kind of like heritage brands. So that's how we want to position that's how we position ourselves. So coming our whole, we know like a lot of our customers are from the States, and so we want to kind of get over there and scale in the States. So that's our kind of next target. Obviously grow more here, get more brand and awareness. I think what we're lacking is like marketing. Everything we've done has been very organic. We've never really had to spend money on marketing, but you can only get so far with that. So it's literally, building that awareness in the UK and in the States, basically.
Awesome. So let's pivot a little bit and talk a bit about storytelling, African beauty rituals. So if you can cast your mind back, can you pinpoint your very earliest memory of your beauty experience for you?
God, I think for me, just seeing my mum put on her makeup. Like my mum is very minimal. Like she's not a she doesn't, she shaves her hair. She just, I always remember her like wearing black charcoal eyeliner and then putting it on her lips. She had one.
Oh, really?
Her eyebrows.
Wow. Talk about multi-purpose.
Listen to my mum is that I'm like, and you know, they would do like in the 80s and well, you know, I wasn't really, well, I was around in the 80s, wasn't too much. And you know, she'd do like this lip liner, like heavy light liner, and then brow.
Okay.
And they used to use this like they used to use razors, like you know those.
Oh
like,
yes, the little like rectangular blades to shape eyebrows. Like, eyebrows.
Yeah. My mum would do that, and that would just. I know that's what. that was my mum's beauty, like multi-purpose queen. She wasn't really into beauty like that, you know. And when you talk about African beauty, I always think like it's very rich. It's all very ceremonial, all very ritualistic. You know, it's very like, you know, it's not like the obvious thing. Like you know, obviously using shea butter and using black soap, but if you use certain things, it might be for ritual thing, or if you put stuff on like on the baby, like oil on the babies, it's very very ritualistic. So that's but my mum's like coal, is it coal, what they call it, eyebrows and lip liner is my earliest kind of memory, watching her put on her makeup. No makeup.
I know it's funny, so two things that you said have kind of triggered for me some early beauty moments that I remember growing up. And yes, like shaving eyebrows with a razor blade was absolutely a thing. I definitely did that. Like I look back and I'm slightly ashamed of myself for going that route, but you know, you're learning as
you see your parents like, I'm like, it's a thing.
Yes.
It's like a whole thing.
There's that. And then there's also the really dark eyeliner. Like my mom used to use, I don't know if you ever know it, if you knew it, but it was called Kajal. Kajal was like this, where was it from? I don't know. I feel like maybe India. It's like a little tiny tube that has like a dark substance with like inside it, like thicker than a cream. And it had a little stick at the end of it that you put in and you pull it out. It's coated with this black substance and you use that to really darken the eye area. And that's how, you know, a lot of the Indian women that you see, or Saudi Arabian women that you see with this beautiful like dark eyes, like that's what they use. So that reminded me of that moment. Thank you for reminding me of it.
No, you know what, I hadn't even, once you asked that question, I hadn't even thought about it. I'd never thought about it. But yeah, like that's my earliest beat. My mum's not and I think like I get, all my sisters, we all get like, we're very minimal, and I think that definitely comes. My mum never wears makeup. When she does, it's like that. Yeah,
that little tiny little moment. And so, are there any childhood beauty rituals that you still maintain today? I mean, I know that you're very minimal, but is it something like
just the shea? You know what, the shea butter, and the black soap, and the black soap with my daughter. Even my daughter, like I say Ori is the Yoruba name for shea butter, but I'll be like, go and get the Ori, and you know, she's like, she knows, and like, and the black soap, you know, our black soap isn't like Osha Dudu, my mom, Osha Dudu for everything, like you got some kind everything, you know what I mean? Like it was insane. It's like, yeah. So I was talking to somebody recently and talking about things that our parents used to do, and I remember my mum used to put, like, if you had some kind of skin problem, it would be like put Dettol in the water.
Dettol, and then get oh my God, yes.
Dettol in the water, and then get the black soap out and just like scrub us down. I'm just, do you know what I mean? Just killing our own natural like skin bio or whatever biome and. You know what I mean? I'm like, Dettol, you know.
So I don't know. Again, I haven't seen Dettol out here. Maybe it exists, maybe it doesn't. But, you know, for those of you who are listening to the podcast, yes. Those of you who are listening, especially if you're based out here in the States and you've never heard of Dettol before, it is like antibacterial, anti-everything, disinfectant. You can use it to clean your bathtub. You can
put in your
put a little
clothes.
bit in your water, bathe yourself in it. Like it.
You shouldn't be doing that. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I feel like
It's insane. Do you know what? It would be illegal. I don't think you can do that anymore. I don't think it's on the list of things. But these things that they used to say that to parents to do, you wouldn't be able to do.
In hindsight, you can't
do that now. It's ridiculous. It's
a really strong smell. Like as you say, Dettol. Like the smell comes to me immediately.
You put it down your toilet sink. That's how they tell you to clean your.
Yep. Like I said, it's like, oh God, let's move away from this one. I feel like I'm going to have to like Google and see what the key ingredients were in that thing. And anyway, so, Oshedudu. Like that is again, for me, that is the only soap I use. It is
really?
the only soap I use. So, I mean, I'm just talking about Oshedudu that my mum would get from Lagos or from Oshedudu she usually gets from either Benin or Togo, I think. For some reason, she seems to prefer...
You don't find it too drying?
I don't find it too drying. I have really sensitive skin. Really sensitive skin, and I can't go to the store and buy, shower gel or, a bar of soap. Like all that stuff just dries me out and I react to it. And after a while, when I was younger, my mom was just like, let me just try Oshedudu on you. And guys, Oshedudu, if the direct translation of that, it's a Yoruba word or phrase for black soap. Oshe is soap, dudu is dark or black. And I have never used anything since then in terms of cleansing my body, taking showers. Like I use Oshedudu. It just leaves my skin feeling super soft. I do use it on my face. I don't have any problems with tightness. I don't get any irritation. It is so moisturizing.
You must get it from a good place, because when the ones that my mom, I think it depends on who you get it from. Like
who you get it from,
sourced directly from Nigeria, from it just depends where you get it from. Like the ones I've had used on the market, it's just too drying. Like,
too drying for you?
Yeah, way too drying. So I'm going to Nigeria next week. So let me see what else is out there.
See what you can.
My mum used to just I feel like she should just get it from down the road, pack or something.
Yeah, but my mum was always so particular. Like I don't even think she gets it from Nigeria. I feel like she gets it from
Benin.
Somebody from like either Benin or Togo, somewhere across the border.
Yeah, because the Nigerian I found it quite drying, and that's why we wanted to bring that soap in, but make it more moisturizing. So we have like molasses in there, so it acts like because we're vegan, it's like a alternative to honey, so it's a humectant. We've got lots of nice oils in there as well. I use it on my body and I use it on my face. Like it's like we recommend using it on face every day, not every day, twice a week. But for me, I use it on my face every day. So it's really just we want to encourage people to patch test and stuff. But like I love, it's my favorite product. The soap is my favorite product.
Interesting.
And Audrey or me, my cleansers, those are the two I use religiously, and the Shea Butter, that's just because it's a Shea Butter, and I use that on my daughter as well. Like it's my complete like everyday essential, those three products. But yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about why launching your version or LIHA's Oshedudu, or what do you call it? Oshegidi. Oshegidi. Yes. So why was that important to have in your SKU mix?
I think it's just that, again, it's that reworking those African products, like people love, but might be too harsh for sensitive skin or too drying and stuff, and just reworking it and like talking about the history behind it, and why West Africans or Nigerians use it, and then introducing people to it, but then making it a bit more palatable for like every day, for everybody,
for everyday use.
But yeah, exactly.
So out here in the States, I've seen what they call here black soap. right?
Mm,
And it's literally black soap,
I know. It's
right?
not.
It's not. So I just want to dispel this myth for you guys that are out there and you think you're using African black soap. That is not African black
Not
soap.
black.
African black soap is not black. Okay. It is, brown,
Brown.
golden, coppery, like a meld of those different colors. Because if I remember correctly, the ingredients in there like have like plantain
It's got
skin and
plantain ash skin.
there we go.
It's got coconut oil.
Yes.
It's very minimal, to be very honest.
Mhm.
They don't use lye. They use plantain skin, which is an alternative. So that's why it's quite soft as well.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, it's never black. So when you
It's never
see,
black. When
I
you
will
see
know
that,
the name. We know the brand. I will not name them. Just say it starts with Shea. Their soap is not real. Read the ingredients list. It's not real black soap. They use black soap
not.
and I don't know. It's bizarre. I don't know why.
It's like, and for me, it's like the beauty of Oshedudu, like real Niger or African black soap, which is not black, like we said, is I love the presentation, right? It's not like the Western presentation, like the box, right? The little box, you open it up, you got a bar of soap. It's not that. What it is like it's typically comes wrapped up in like brown paper. You open it up and it's almost like a cake, right? Like a round, firm cake of bits, and it crumbles, and you got to get a knife out. You got to cut your slice of soap out. Like, when we talk about African beauty rituals, like I really wanted to talk about these sorts of elements because it's all part of the ceremony of taking care of our bodies and our skincare. It is not a white box with a black bar of soap inside it. It's way more than that. So if you have that, throw it in the trash and go get yourself either some Oshegidi from LIHA Beauty or go to West Africa and go get yourself some Oshedudu.
Yeah. I think the thing is, it's a difficult one because it's like, people are so used to like the perfection of what things look like, and it's like, and that's something I even struggled with. It's not like every time. So it's, I think when you open Oshedudu and it looks, and it's not consistent either. Like you might get one batch. Might look yellow, one might look brown. One might, whatever. So when I think it's just I struggle with like presentation, especially if your Lux, be sitting that kind of prestige, luxury, when like, Net-a-Porter or like Liberty, whatever. So it's like how it looks. And if you're not physically there to have that explanation, it's like difficult because they're like, oh my God, what's this? Whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
So I like to say that it's Shea Butter season right now. So it's autumn, it's season. Fall. Like the other day, even though I'm in Texas and it's still pretty warm here, there's just something kind of nostalgic about getting to the autumn time of the year and bringing out my Shea Butter or Ori, as it's called in Yoruba, and really working it into my hands because you have to. It's like a workout, and then slathering it, to every crevice of my body. You guys have two different types of Shea Butters within LIHA Beauty's collection. You have an ivory one and a gold one.
We've got ivory one, yeah. We've got the ivory one, which is from Ghana, which is the one that people are more used to. It's actually it's the one that really is quite what you have to really work in your hands. So that's from Tamale. It's like, it's ivory in color. It's like a light yellow, I would say. It's quite crumbly. As I say, you have to work it. In the summer it's not so bad, but in the winter it's quite hard. Nigerian one we get from Ogun State. It's a bit it's waxier. It's a bit more. It's we call it gold. The color's it's golden almost. And then it's wax. It's easier to work in the hands.
It's more spreadable.
Yeah, more spreadable. Yeah, it's literally like a butter. It's what was I going to say? Yeah, it's the one that's a bit more moisturizing. It's thicker, denser. That's the one we've had really good reviews with with eczema.
Uh-huh.
and like skin conditions and things like that. And it's the one that the smell, like Ivory one smells quite neutral, quite sweet, vanilla, and the gold is quite earthy. It's an earthy smell. It's you know, you either hate it or love it. Weirdly, men tend to like it. Women tend to like the Ivory one. But yeah, they do the same thing. But, you know, every region, you know, I've heard they've got Shea Butter in Ethiopia. They've got it in like different places I didn't even know about. And everything's Uganda, I think that's a different type of shea. You've got the shea tree everywhere. And it's just everybody's got their own different recipes basically. And it's historically handed down depending on cooperatives, families, you know, whatever. And every batch will be slightly different because it's handmade. So it's never going to be consistent like that.
Yeah, so the shea butter that I use, that my mum also, you know, brought back from somewhere, whether it's Nigeria or Ghana or wherever it is, I think Ghana, is ivory in color. So that's what I use this morning. And you really have to work into it. So, right, in terms of, we're very clear now. So the ivory is from Ghana, the gold is from Nigeria, Ogun State, which is where I hail from. Whoop, whoop. So why would one buy ivory or gold? Like, what are the reasons? Like, can you explain to our listeners why you buy one over the other?
It's just preference, really. You know, I really like the Nigerian one because I think it's just more moisturizing. Some people are put off by the smell. You know, some people just like the ivory. It's enough for their skin. So it's really just preference, like just giving people the choice of one over the other, because the Nigerian one can be, people are just like, actually, I don't like the smell. Ivory one is just very neutral, like you can't hate it. But it's the one you have to work with your hand. So it's really preference more than anything.
Okay, so we've got to talk about this because I feel like different dermatologists that I've spoken to, different skin enthusiasts, different skincare enthusiasts that I've spoken to all have different viewpoints on this. Can we put shea butter on our face or not?
Girl, I did a TikTok about this. You know, this is what I'm doing on TikTok.
So, welcome to this world.
So with this, I personally, we recommend not to, you know, it's got on the comedogenic scale, it's a 2. It's not, it apparently doesn't clog up your skin.
Wait, first of all, tell people what this comedogenic scale is. What does it mean?
So like, it's just a scale of whether something will clog up your pores or clog up your skin. Like 2 is like no, and then like 10 is like yes or something. So it's got a real like, it shouldn't call it. It's apparently it shouldn't, but it's very thick. Shea butter is very thick, and it's an occlusive, so it actually seals in moisture. It's not like, so this is what I do with my daughter, especially not so much in the summer because it's fine. In the winter, I would put a water-based. I use a Vino water-based moisturizer on, and then I would seal it in with the shea butter. So, and that seals in the moisture. So in terms of like, when you're putting it just directly, I just think it's too thick. I would personally break out. So I do this. I just put it on areas that I get really dry. So this is here in the winter. In the summer, not so much because in the winter here, between my eyebrows, the edges of my lips, weirdly around my ears, I just wouldn't put it all over my face. I just think it's just too thick. But some people, again, that's why I always say to people, patch test. Everybody's different. Yeah. Like coconut oil, our Eden oil is a coconut-based oil, and is really high on the comedogenic state. Coconut oil will clog up your pores.
Yes,
I don't put it.
So listen, guys. This is something that I felt very strongly about, so I'm really glad that you've said that, right? Like, coconut oil's not for the face. Coconut oil...
It's not for the face.
It's not for the face.
But however... Oh, God. I've got a friend, and we've had people... It's weird. It's so weird. I've had people tell us... I've had people say that Eden oil's cleared out the eczema. I've had my friend Jude. She uses it as a facial oil, and I'm like,
Really?
I can't. Yeah, and she loves it. She thinks it's the
Wow.
best. So this is the thing. Like everybody's skin's different, and
Yeah,
you have to
that's
test.
true.
And I always say patch test. I personally wouldn't put a shea butter on my face, but I have when I've had like really dry periods. I've used it like a mask. I would put it on my face for 10 minutes and just clean it off with a warm cloth.
Okay, got it.
Just for that hit of moisture.
Yeah.
And that's what I've used it, or as I said, just put it where I feel like I'm dry. But yeah, but that's just me. But I always tell people to patch test. So everybody's different.
Everyone is different.
Weird. Everybody's different.
It's true. It's true. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about product naming because, again, me being a brand marketer and, being someone that's come from the world of beauty, etc., like that stuff fascinates me. So I think a lot of the things that fascinates you, which I heard you say earlier on, are the things that also tickle me too. So packaging, branding, logos, fonts, all that kind of stuff. So the names of your products are very intentional. They basically integrate Yoruba language into them. So Idon oil, which we showed you earlier on, which means magic. Idon means magic, right?
Yeah, there's like whole Nigerian. They've got names they've got 10 different names for magic.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, that's
when
true.
I was asking my dad, "What is it?" and he was like, more, not more. I don't know because I've got to. I would always ask my dad, what does it? He's like,
this is good because
there's no like straight translation for anything. Like,
it's like overlap in words. So I was going to ask you, and then obviously there's the Oriri, which I absolutely love, the cleansing bath, which Oriri means moisture.
Moisture,
So my point is, like, first of all, and I think you've answered the question already. Like, how do you go about naming these? Like, do you go to your dad and say, "Dad, like, I need"? Okay, so it's him. He's when my dad passed away, but I would ask him, and LIHA would ask her dad, and then I'd ask, I asked my parents, and then I'd ask people like. Because there isn't like sometimes there's not real translation and they'll be like because it's very specific words moisture. My dad would be like moisture. Yeah,
I was gonna say what's a nice for moisture. He's like I don't know. Omi water. Like Omi's water.
Not the same thing, Dad.
So it's that. Yeah, we try and you try and be intentional about how we name things. Yeah, I think that's really important. Again, it's just educating people. Just have to take everything we do is like it is very intentional, and it is like you almost need to take some time and do a bit of research or watch a video and we get a lot with the Edan or somebody's always emailing or asking, can you make it liquid? Can you put it in a pot? Because I find it hard to keep. I was like, if we put it in a pot in the summer, you'll be telling us we should put it in a bottle.
Exactly.
So, so it's just, you just have to take your time.
I love it. I do love the naming. I absolutely love it. So talking about this Idon oil, which is like I'm guessing it's your bestseller or your hero product.
That and the balm actually is coming. The balm's fast becoming one of our bestsellers. We'll come
to the balm in a second because I love it. But you mentioned earlier on that there are like 6 different ways of using this. This magic multi-purpose oil. Can you share a few of those?
Yeah, obviously it can use as a body oil. We say personally love it as a bath oil. I use it as a body oil, obviously.
Okay.
Bath, my daughter was like, "Oh, mommy, you smell so nice." Bath oil, pre-conditioner. So like with afro hair as a pre-conditioner, or with straighter hair, or even curly hair pre-conditioner. Straight hair just as a preconditioner. With afro hair or whatever and curly hair, leave it in. You can leave it in.
Okay.
So and then with straight hair just as a preconditioner, and then shampoo and conditioner as you would normally, or just run through the ends of your hair if it's really dry.
Okay.
cuticle oil, perfume oil. I decant it into rollerball because I don't wear perfume and I don't wear deodorant. I
That's a
decant it
cool one.
into rollerball, and then I
Yeah.
just roll it.
Yeah.
And if I go to the toilet, run some hot water on it, just roll it on, and I leave that in my bag. Yeah,
That is
basically head to
truly,
toe, apart from your face.
yeah, truly
Apart from your face.
multi-purpose.
Yeah.
So you guys will see that it's solidified, which we all know that coconut oil does, but essentially, and I see that you guys always recommend, like, if you want to use this, take it into your hot shower. As you're taking a shower, doing all the things or washing your hair, this will obviously melt down into its liquid form, and you can go ahead and use it. I like to use it as a body oil.
Yeah. Most people do. Most people do. Do you know, it's so weird. I always feel like, because it's like, it feels so special. I always feel like I can't use it every day. I don't, even though I could.
Look how much I've used. Barely any. For the same reason.
I will not use it. Like the Shea Butter, I just have a shower, put it on, With the oil, I'm like, I always keep it for where I go out and even though I can get an endless supply of it. It's like, it's such a weird one. I don't know. I feel like
that's funny.
Yeah, it's such a weird, because I could use it because I love the smell, and I say I don't wear deodorant. I don't, and I use it as deodorizer as well because coconut is a deodorant. It's such a weird one. I don't know. I feel like
it's too special. It's too special. Exactly. So it has an amazing fragrance. I know you have tuberose flower in it, which is very, I want to say that it's an ingredient that I don't come across very often in beauty and skincare products. So super unique. Why did you choose tuberose?
For that very reason. So you find it in the high end perfumes like Chanel No. 5 and perfumery, high end perfumery and stuff. You never really find it in like a body oil or just like an everyday. And just making the smell, like the scent, quite accessible in that sense. And I think coconut oil had like a moment. Like it's a moment, and about, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, people were putting it everywhere, like it was like a holy grail.
All the things.
And we wanted to, and we wanted to bring that kind of like luxury element to coconut oil, because nobody wants to smell like they're being fried or whatever. So I think that's how we kind of came across it. And LIHA's, like, as I said, she's like total skincare junkie, so it's like. Right. It's a really special flower. It's a night blooming flower. It's in tropical countries. It's really quite unusual. So,
I love that. So let's go to Oriri. Oriri cleansing balm. So this is new for me. I just, got it maybe a couple of weeks ago. I do love a good cleansing balm. It smells amazing. Tell us about how we can best get the most out of this super indulgent formula.
Yeah, do you know what? Like, I have really balms don't do well with my skin. Like, my skin loves them. The mud cleanser is as I said, is the one that Oriri mud cleanser is the one I use every day. Balms don't do, but I do love the Oriri with the smell. Sometimes all I do is go to my bathroom and I just smell it.
I'm gonna do it right now
and just smell it. The smell, I can't even. So everything we do is quite sensory. Everything we do leads with like that sensory element, because I think that smell brings up like memories and things with people.
Totally
so that's the Oriri just smells amazing. The thing is, we weren't actually going to do a balm. Like, I have I've gotten older, it's less oily, but definitely oily to combo skin, and I wanted a cleanser like that would help without feeling really dry. Like the foam cleansers I can't do with, and like some of the washing cleansers I thought it was too stripping. So we wanted something that would keep your own natural oil. So we developed the mud cleanser, and then we're like, LIHA's like, I've got really dry skin. What am I going to use? So we're like, okay, we can do a balm, because I was quite reluctant. I was like, balm, everybody's got a balm. What's so special about the balm? So that we wanted to really bring up that kind of spa sensory element to it. So and you know what? I can't even use the balm that much. But I love to smell it. I use the balm once or twice a week. So what I do is I love the smell. Like I bought a gua sha.
Oh yeah.
So I double cleanse with it basically, especially if I wear makeup.
Yeah.
So I will double cleanse with it if I wear makeup. So I use the balm and then I use the eau de me. So I would do the gua sha. I started doing gua sha. So I'll just watch TV and I'll just use the butt because the slip of the balm is so lovely.
Wait, so hold on. So what you do is you get this Ori Ring cleansing balm, you put it all over your face, right? Yeah. I'm just making sure that I'm seeing this correctly. Yeah. And while it's still on your face, you get your gua sha facial tool and you go ahead and
just go. And, you know, I was doing it before I got the gua sha. I was just doing it with my hands, just like doing like, I've got these like 2 lines that never go away because I always found. So but the gua sha actually has been amazing with it. So I was doing it just with my hands and doing facial. I used to, during lockdown, I got into this French facialist, this French black facialist. She's amazing. I found her on YouTube and I started doing her. You know what you do in lockdown.
Oh, you've got to drop details. You're gonna have to drop
yeah. So I was doing. I forgot her name. I'm terrible with names. But anyway, so I was doing that, and then everybody, you know, gua sha is a huge thing. All these tools and stuff. So I started doing my gua sha, and so I use that. So I try and do that once or twice a week, especially with my thing. And then, but I can't just use that. I have to double cleanse if I use the balm. So I have to use the Oji afterwards. And my skin just doesn't, it's just too oily. The balms are too oily for my skin. But yeah, so you can use the balm as an everyday cleanser, especially it's a great breakup remover. If you've got dry skin, it's perfect, or even combo skin is perfect as an everyday cleanser. Great makeup remover. As I said, love to double cleanse with it. And just like, it's like people have coined it spa in a jar. So it's like a real spa moment, I think, like just taking your time. The smell is just like brings you to calm. It's just an amazing. It is like, it's becoming our best. We only launched it last year and it's becoming a bestseller.
I can see why. I mean, I use it as an overnight. I use it as a double cleanse. So like if I'm wearing makeup like I am now, so after this episode, I'm not a normal like everyday makeup user. I'm wearing it because I'm seeing you today. So after this episode, what I will probably do is I'll take my makeup off with this. Like I'll put this on my face dry. I'll get a hot towel and I will basically like, you know, gently take it all off, and then I'll go in and double cleanse with something else. But another way that I have used this is as an overnight mask.
You can use it. So LIHA loves it as an overnight mask. As I said, it's too much for my skin, but as an overnight mask, it's great for as well. Actually.
It's really quite nice, and I actually used it on my flight to London a couple of weeks ago.
I actually might try this. Do you know what? For once, because my face, like everybody else, gets so dry on a flight. So I might actually try. Also, it's good as a cuticle oil as well. If you want to, So LIHA uses that as. So I'm not really into do my nails, but I'm so minimalist. LIHA's like, you know, she does all these. She's got every hat going. But I actually might try that actually because the flight when I go to Nigeria, So I think,
that's it. I just decanted a little bit of this into a much smaller jar, and then as soon as I got comfortable in my seat, did my whole thing with it and left it on until
I'm going to do that. That's a good hack. That is a good hack. I will do that.
You're welcome. Okay. So I want to definitely talk about like the ritual of self-care and personal beauty. Because that's really important. Boundaries. You are a business owner. You're super busy. I can imagine. Like, how are you setting up boundaries for yourself? And are boundaries even important to you?
I'm very good at boundaries. I just naturally, do you know what? I'm like,
I can see that. I can see that.
I just don't get involved. I'm just like, I'm just, everybody knows me. Like, I'm not involved. My friends, I'm just like, if I don't want to do it, I just won't do it. And if I want people to like, and you know what? I've got a great set of friends. I'm very good at, I don't make new friends easily, which is something I'm trying to get out of because I need new friends. Not new friends, actually. I just need friends.
I feel like so many of us are experiencing that these days. Like making friends at an older age is so
It's so
difficult.
hard.
Nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it.
It's so difficult. Like, do you know what? I light just went. Yeah,
There you
London,
go.
they put the clocks back, so
Yes,
like it gets
yes.
dark really quickly. So yeah, I found it really difficult in London. So and then I joined Soho Works, and I'm thinking, because pandemic, we closed our office, and then we all started working from home, and then I was like, I can't be doing this. Let me join Soho Works. Nobody was talking to me. I was like, I'm trying to make friends. Nobody's talking. But then,
God, I'm
I
dying.
know, it's so difficult. It's like impossible.
It is.
I'm like, what is it? But then it's like England. This is England as well. People are like, oh, what do you
very
want?
reserved,
Nobody says hello.
reserved. Nobody does say hello. Nobody does. Nobody does.
Nobody says hello. And, I'm the same. If somebody's looking at me, I'm like, what are you looking at?
What
Why
are you looking
at?
Yeah, that's such a British thing. I think for me also, like having now lived in the US for the last 7 years, and I just went to London literally a couple of weeks ago. One of the things that was so evident to me was that, taking a walk here, if I take a walk right here and somebody passes by me, they will always typically look up and say, hey, how you doing? Keep it moving. I went for a walk about a week ago while I was in London. And, my parents live in Great Ashby, which is really close to Stevenage, basically. And
Yeah.
they live right by some woods, like a beautiful forest. You can go take walks and whatnot. So I did that with my brother and his wife and their daughters. And we were walking by people, right? They were just so focused at looking down at the leaves as they were walking by me. And I was like trying to get their eye to be like, hey, good morning. And just, it's not like I want to have a conversation. I'm an introvert. I don't want to have a conversation with you. But I want to acknowledge the fact that we are in the same space right now and we're humans, human interaction. We don't do that. And I was very quickly reminded that, oh yeah, Timmy, you're in the UK.
Like, in London, you're in England. Nobody does that. Maybe up north in London, it ain't happening. Nobody says hello. I'm the same, to be fair. But when I used to stay in Florida a lot, and people are like, hey ma'am, how you doing? I'm like,
how you doing?
I don't know you. I was like, oh, these people are so fake.
What's about to happen now? Yeah, it's literally like they'll ask you how you are, and I'm typically like, so what's about to happen now? Like, why are you talking to me?
What do you want?
What do you want? What do you want from me?
I know, this is so insane. But you know what? I go to Ghana. I was in Ghana last year for like 4 months, and this year for like 2 months. And I've made adult friends. I made adult friends. I think it's because I hate this word expat community because everybody's immigrants, but they've got like an expat community. And so I think just the very nature of that, like people are there to like make friends and things like that. So I found that so much easier. And one thing I need to actively start doing is do Sharmadene's Stack World. They've got like a forum which they talk about making friends, at an older age, and they acknowledge that it's so much, so difficult. So there's like, events and things like that. So, it's something really cool. I'm definitely, I think like, because your friends, like the friends I grew up with, we all have kids, we all, have different priorities and things. And I'm still like, I'm building a business. I need to be out there. And also you just want like-minded people who are doing the same things as you or similar, and the challenges. Right. So I'm definitely, that's definitely something I'm actively trying to do.
Good luck, and keep me posted. I'm totally invested now in how this development friendship networks becomes. So what does your ideal day off look like?
God, it's probably with my daughter doing something, just taking her to a park, her wanting me to buy something. My ideal would be literally going somewhere, getting a nice a book, a glass of wine, and nice.
Mm.
I love going to a restaurant on my.
Okay.
I love stuff. Yeah, I love eating good food on my own. So when I
Okay.
was in Ghana, I did that so often. I would go, and because the exchange rate is so good, I would take myself to the best restaurants. Just I had one
Living
restaurant
it
I was
up.
going to every Saturday afternoon, ordering octopus. They
Ooh,
knew the food was so
yes.
good. Yeah, I
Oh,
love it. Like, and a nice guy. I would do that every Saturday afternoon. Take
oof.
my daughter to her. There's a place I'd take my daughter to, and the nanny
Okay.
would take her, and then I'd have like a Saturday afternoon to myself, and I love it.
Lux. That sounds like the ultimate luxury day and
Yeah,
evening.
good food and a glass of wine, and I'm a happy bunny.
Mhm. So, can you describe what your favorite self-care moment looks like?
Do you know, I love my favorite self care. I don't get to do it often because
Mhm.
I blame my daughter, but yeah, it's a bit of but it's lighting. I've got like a little oil burner. I light
Okay.
that up. I do some like meditation, just
Oh,
movement, like
nice.
just moving, like a yoga, Pilates, like kind of movement thing. Yeah, I think for me that is like gives me peace of mind. But even like self-care for me, like going to the gym and doing a good workout,
Yeah,
like
totally.
that makes me
Totally.
so happy.
Yeah. I mean,
I
it
haven't
does a
done
lot
that.
for the endorphins, like all the
Yeah, it
hormones that
makes me
make you
so
happy.
happy. It makes me so happy. Like, yeah, well, not even happy, like just accomplished and strong. Like if I've done like an amazing weight session
Yeah.
and like and throw down some weights and I'm like, yeah, I'm off. I feel amazing. I feel like a new woman. I feel love feeling strong. I love doing weights. I love doing
Yeah.
like, coming from that athletics background and like
Oh, yes,
doing
of
like,
course.
yeah, doing like really strength based work,
Yeah.
and even though I don't do that much anymore, like if I've done like a shit hot weight session, I'm like,
Feel
that's like my idea of
powerful.
self-care. I feel great. I feel powerful. I feel like I'm ready to take on the world. So yeah.
Do you have any beauty appointments in your calendar scheduled in the next
Yeah, I got my
week or
wax
so?
tomorrow, girl. I got bikini.
Got to get
I
it
got my
done.
wax tomorrow. And I was trying to get it done today. I got my wax. You know what I mean? When I go to Lagos, I'm on the beach. I'm going to a
Ah,
pool. Yeah, so
love
I need to
it.
get, London ain't this country, boy, with its cold ass weather. It's so annoying. You don't want to shave or wax
I
anything.
know. I know. You want to keep it all on to
You
see
want
to
to keep it
keep you as
all
warm as
on.
possible.
I'm telling you. And so, but I'm getting my wax. Yeah, I try. I need to be doing that every 6 weeks, but I don't. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm the same. It's like all of a sudden I'm like, oh, it's been 3 months. I gotta call Monica. Monica,
I'm
can you
telling
fit me
you,
in?
keep it. This is it. Yeah. So, but yeah, so that's like, I'm just, you know what? I don't really, when I was in Ghana this year, this time I went to get my nails done. I was intrigued. Like, I hate it when it chips and stuff, but then I wanted like these,
Yeah,
everybody's got these false like nails and it looks so nice with all these designs. And I
like
was
the
like, oh,
nail art. Yeah.
yeah. So I was like, let me get it done. I went to get it done, boy. After 2 or 3 days, I got it taken off. I couldn't open my door. I couldn't
Oh,
type.
you
I
got the
couldn't do
really
my
long
daughter's
ones.
hair. It
Oh
wasn't even that
no.
long. It wasn't even that
You
long.
just weren't used to them.
I don't like it. I didn't like
Yeah.
it. So I'm just not like into all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you, so this is a signature question that I always close every episode with. Feel like I might know the answer to this, but we'll see. If you're in a rush, you got up late, and now you've only got 15 minutes before you get out the house. What are you going to do? Makeup or hair?
Jeez. It definitely has to be the hair. It has to be the hair.
I
Has
thought
to
you
be
would.
the it
I
has to
thought
be
you
the
would.
hair. Like, I'm a black woman, man. Like makeup is cool. I can do that. But you got 15 minutes is not enough time to do a hair.
It's
To do
listen,
hair. So I need to get
listen,
that going.
listen. I hear you. Worst case scenario is pulling out a headscarf, a really nice
Hell,
headscarf, or
hence
a
the headscarf.
turban, or as you're rocking
Yeah.
today. as you're rocking
exactly.
today.
I think hair and eyebrows, because my eyebrows aren't great.
Okay.
So the hair, eyebrow I think makes my face anyway. So I think that's it. Yeah, I'm quite minimal. It doesn't take me long to do makeup anyway. So
5 minutes and you're good to go.
I'm good to go.
Is there any, or are there any projects that are coming up that you want to plug? We're closing now, so I definitely want to hear from you.
We've got I've got Eden oil candle coming out.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
That's a highly requested thing. So we tried it. We thought we'd get it out before Christmas, but that ain't gonna happen.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
So I think it's just going to be limited edition. It'll be early next year. Just getting it's something we've got asked that a lot. I was really reluctant because I was like, it's an Eden oil. Why would you want a candle? Everyone's like, oh, have you got no? So we'll see how it goes. We'll just do a
fragrance. We talked about earlier on, everyone's just obsessed with how good this thing smells, the tuberose. So I get it.
See. We'll do a limited edition. We've just got new SKUs coming out.
Cool.
We've got a really small line, it's a really small line, but we need to kind of expand our SKUs. Okay. And you'll see us stateside, hopefully. So we'll be doing some more activations. Yeah. Hopefully in the summer. Yeah. Okay. So that would be good. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Will definitely keep me updated. I'd love to, keep an eye out. So where can my listeners find out more about LIHA Beauty?
Obviously, our LIHAbeauty.com, our website. If you're in America, shop us on 13 Loom. And JCPenney. So 13 Loom has got an in-store in JCPenney. So please go there and shop. We need so please. So I've got
something's happening out there.
Yes, an ambulance just went past. So 13 Loom, JCPenney's stores. We're in I think 300 now, and then they're rolling out to 600. So shop us there.
Awesome.
In the UK, we're in Space and K. Shop us there. Yeah.
And to close, what is one word to describe how you're feeling right now?
Yeah, again, I'm feeling really relaxed. It's nice to have a conversation. Okay. You know what? I'm at home all the time, just beavering away. So it's nice to just have a really lovely conversation. So,
I'm so glad. I'm so glad to hear. Thank you so much, Abi, for joining me in the lounge today. It was so good to hear about LIHA Beauty, how you work together with your co-founder LIHA, and all the things that are coming up in the next few months and in the next year or so. So we'll be keeping an eye out. All the links that you shared, we'll add to the show notes. But
thank you so much.
Love what you're doing.
Thanks a lot, babes. Thank you.